Yeah, the big thing around agency was having a real life, authentic context to learning. It's something that really drove me as a learner. It's something that I'm really passionate about and wanted to drive here at school. So part of making this work was looking at teachers' timetables. I wanted to create an environment where they had some time dedicated. They weren't going to be held accountable for doing their 1 hour of reading, writing, or maths on this at this particular time, and they could dedicate this time to really building that agency.
We did a lot of work when you'd come to visit the school last year around unpacking the why of agency and what the purpose of it was. So we talked a lot about the why, and we decided we'd start with something that was a little bit more structured. We started by looking at just the motivation and engagement section of your book. We thought by doing that we could just tackle one area and do that really well. And definitely at the start there was the understandable pushback of how do we make sure that this doesn't just become, kids doing nothing for half of the week when, as David mentioned as well, we're so time poor and we want to make sure that they're making as much progress as possible. I had to do a lot of work with my team around, keep coming back to that why of why we're doing this. And it's not just about that half a day when we're doing these projects, it's about developing these skills across everything. The teachers have been on their own journeys with it, and it's been challenging in different ways because they're working with different year groups, and we've slowly worked out what works for the year sixes is quite different than what works for the year fours, and so we've done a lot of learning. We're starting to get to that point where teachers are really seeing the benefits of it, which is really cool. Ultimately, decided on doing two different projects across the syndicate. The year sixes we're going to do work on a magazine where they'd choose different areas of the magazine to work on. So there'd be photography teams, reporting teams, puzzle teams, design teams, and such. So there was a team of kids who worked on advertising, and so their whole job was to work out what it would cost to print this magazine. So they started off by looking at quotes, and they worked out the prices, and they worked out how many we wanted to print. And then they had to go through all the maths of deciding what it was going to cost, and what we could sell the ads for and how many ads we'd need to sell. And then once they'd done all of that thinking and they did a lot of learning around, mocking up what an ad would look like so they could show it to businesses. They went out to businesses around the community and sold ads, and they raised about $950 in ads. We actually had to stop them pretty quickly because we got to a point where we were going to run out of space to put anything else in the magazine. And then as part of that, another student, he started a Google spreadsheet and learned how to make a drop downs and different things so that he could record who had bought an ad, what size ad they'd bought. So you could drop down and pick a quarter page, and then it would auto populate the price, and it would add it all up. And he said this was just to save him time, so he didn't have to do all the maths every time. Another one that stands out to me was a student came up with a puzzle idea. Of taking photos from around Pahiatua, editing them and warping them so that you couldn't quite recognize what they were. So he had the idea, but he didn't have the skills. So he went to some girls in the photography team and explained his idea to them. And they'd learned all about how to edit photos. So then they were able to go out, take these photos, edit them, and then they got another person from the design team to mock it all up and put it onto a page. So it took a lot of work and a lot of learning and a lot of communication and teamwork to get to an end product, but they all had contributed with their various skills. So
It's an incredibly rewarding learning and teaching process. If you get the book and you just choose one aspect that you want to improve on, just doing one little thing will help build into creating something that is really powerful and really game changing. The motivation is just unbelievable that the kids got out of. Sometimes things come up and we can't quite possibly have it. They're demanding it to be rescheduled later in the week, which is fantastic. We've seen our attendance rates improve because the kids just want to be here. I think that Wednesday in Mahuri they have the highest attendance of the week because everyone wants to be at school and it's just super authentic. They know they're building something, it's real. They have an opportunity to follow the things that they're really passionate about, right? So, yeah, my advice is to give it a go.